Well, if there was a roof on this state-of-the-art facility, it would have already been blown off by the American women, denying the Jamaicans the gold in their 4x1. What noise will we witness now? Sean Safo Antwi goes lead leg for Ghana, but watch for Azamati, who got his national record down to 9.9 earlier this season. He's on the back straight. The South Africans came through really well. Third in their semi-final. Simbine ran a fabulous anchor leg. Could he do so again? Great Britain silver in Doha. They were second in the first semi-final. Mitchell Blake ran the second bend, and Prescod has got his times back down to 9.93. Jimmy Vico brought the French home with a victory in the second of the semi-finals. What a story it would be for them if they were to take this crown. The Canadians, a silver medal last year. Jerome Blake down the back straight. He's in PB shape over the 1 and the 2, and de Grasse goes anchor leg for them. He's had a tough week. It would be a great end for him. Coleman, the former world champion, to Lyles, the reigning world champion over 200. Hall on the third leg, and 100-meter medalist Marvin Bracy on the anchor leg. The USA will be the favourites here. Can they deliver, as their female counterparts have just done? Akeem Blake to Johan Blake down the back straight. The veteran will be hoping to hold nerve together. Watch for Seville round that second bend. The Jamaicans are really excited about him. De Nascimento leads the Brazilians off, with Eric Cardoso on anchor leg for them. South American record when they finished 4th 3 years ago in Doha. Brazil in 1, Jamaica in 2, USA 3, Canada 4, France 5, Great Britain 6, South Africa 7, Ghana in lane 8. This is the last act on what has been a brilliant penultimate night of the 2022 World Athletics Championships.
Can the U.S. win all of the sprint races? 1, 2, 4, 110 hurdles, and the 4x1.
There was a long hold, and now an explosion of energy on the track and in the stands. What a leg by Christian Coleman, pulling away from the Jamaicans. It wasn't a perfect changeover. I tell you what, Jerome Blake is running well on that second leg. Really good changeover again by the Canadians. The Jamaicans are miles down at the moment. Hall to Bracy. And the Canadians are holding them. De Grasse, can he do it? Yes, he can. Gold to Canada. And after what a difficult season it's been for de Grasse, he tastes gold in the 4x1, just as he did over the 200 meters last year in Tokyo. It was not to be the double for the Americans. Coleman got out brilliantly for them at the beginning, but a series of crisp changeovers for the Canadians ensure it is a North American nation on top of the podium, but it's not the hosts, it's their northerly neighbours. And somehow, after an awful year of injury and illness with COVID, de Grasse comes out on top for Canada once more. What a way to finish for them. The Americans were closing, but de Grasse had the composure and the experience to see them home. Great Britain coming home for the bronze, ahead of Jamaica. A fabulous moment for them. And despite the fact that Bracy was coming, de Grasse held good. They had a brilliant changeover. A brilliant changeover from 2 to 3, the Canadians. Blake ran really well down that back straight. The Americans were under pressure. The Jamaicans must have had a couple of awful changeovers because they got great men in their lineup. And now Great Britain celebrate, backing up their silver from Doha. It feels like a little bit of an anticlimax tonight because the Americans were expecting to do the double. Their women delivered, but the American men did not bank on the fabulous teamwork by the Canadians.
Well, here we get a look at Christian Coleman coming out of the blocks. Nobody probably better to put on that first leg. But it was not a great changeover here from Christian Coleman to Noah Lyles. Lyles had to slow down just a little bit, but you know he's going to run great on that back straight. Let's see what this second exchange looks like. This is Elijah Hall. He's had a great season. We've been waiting for him to appear the last couple of seasons. University of Houston, Carl Lewis and Leroy Burrell prodigy. But Bracy had to slow down just a little bit, and it was just that little tiny gap that Grasse got on Marvin Bracy, and Bracy just was not able to reel him in. And we've been waiting to see Andre Grasse really run well, and we always see him in championship form. And here in the 4x100 meters, we saw his best at these championships.
And I have to say this again, Jerome Blake to Brendon Rodney round that second leg to third leg was an incredible changeover, and Rodney to Grasse was pretty good as well. That was Reece Prescod on the left of picture, bringing Great Britain home ahead of the Jamaicans, who at this stage had a massive amount of ground to make up, despite the fact that they had Seville on that third leg. Oh, he even had the time and the composure to celebrate and make the most of that moment. I mean, he is a brilliant championship performer, Grasse. Bronze in the 100 last year, then he stormed to the 200. He didn't start the 200 meters because he felt like he was way below his best, but he saved himself for the relay, and he had the final word at the end of the short sprint relay, and the Canadians could barely contain their joy. And again, that was a brilliant example of teamwork, outshining individual stars, and fantastic composure from Grasse down the home straight.
I would have to call that an upset.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree. When you've got the likes of Coleman and Lyles and Bracy on the anchor leg, and there have been question marks over Grasse in terms of his fitness and his form. Yes, that is a great result for the Canadians. As I said, gold for the North Americans, but nobody was expecting it to be your near neighbours, apart from them.
But another medal for Great Britain. They go to these World Championships and they always seem to come home with some hardware.
Yes, they'll be over the moon with that, they really will. Especially because they beat the Jamaicans. I'd love to, when we get the stats and the changeover splits, it'll be interesting to see where the Jamaicans lost ground, because my eye was drawn to the Canadians down the back straight with Blake. The Jamaicans were there or thereabouts on the first leg. Coleman had run really well to get the US into a great position at the beginning of the back straight, but as you said, it wasn't the sharpest changeover from Coleman to Lyles. And once Blake got into his running, the Canadians were dominating, and they were not to be denied.
Oh my God.
French have been disqualified for a changeover outside the box on the legs from 1 to 2. There are always casualties and there's always drama. That's why we love watching. Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, Brendon Rodney, and that man Andre Grasse with the shades. Injured this year, had COVID this year, and yet somehow the gold and bronze medalist from Tokyo is going home with yet another medal, and going home with the best one of all. He had a double check. Look at the glance. Now he turns to celebrate, but Bracy was under pressure right from the beginning of that leg, wasn't he? Because it was a really dodgy changeover. They were lucky to actually get the baton round.
He had to change his hand position and almost take it like a 4x4 exchange just to get it inside of the zone. And it just put him off a little bit and created that little bit of a gap. But golly, Andre Grasse, you know, he has a moment at every championship.